Venezuela and the General License 46, an article by Anna Lipstick. GL46 The Crookedness Way Against the Venezuelan Oil Resources. Abstract. In January 2026, the U.S. government shifted its sanctions policy following an unexpected attack from their Special Operations Forces, which resulted in more than 80 victims and the kidnapping of Nicolas Maduro, president of Venezuela in functions, and of his wife. The installation of an U.S.-backed interim leadership took place a few days after. As a part of this so-called transition, Vital and Trafigura rapidly appeared as the first two major trading houses to receive their specific authorizations to commercialize the Venezuelan crude oil business. Let's briefly analyze some related key aspects. 1. The core authorization, General License 46. While Vital and Trafigura initially received private, specific waivers in early January, the broader framework was codified under General License 46, which was issued on January 29, 2026. This license authorizes established U.S. entities to engage in transactions with PDVSA and the government of Venezuela. Scope of activities: lifting, exportation, re-exportation, sale, resale, supply, storage, marketing, purchase, delivery, and transportation of the Venezuelan oil. Refining: the license explicitly allows for the refining of Venezuelan oil by these authorized entities. On February 3, 2026, specifically to allow the export of U.S. origin diluents to Venezuela, which are essential for processing the country's heavy crude. 2. Specific terms for Vital and Trafigura. Reports indicate that Vital and Trafigura are operating under a strategic expansion pilot. Key details of their specific engagement include market and initial 50 million barrels volume. The special licenses are revalid for 18 months plus renewal. Shipments to U.S. markets are prioritized, but marketing to Europe and India is also undergoing. Vital is focused on import, export and marketing. Trafigura is reportedly handling logistics, storage and sale coordination. 3. Strict financial guardrails. The U.S. Treasury has implemented a supervised financial control model to ensure that oil revenues do not return to sanctioned individuals. U.S.-controlled accounts. Payments for oil must be deposited into U.S.-supervised accounts. Some reports mention accounts in Qatar or specific U.S. foreign government deposit funds. Asset protection. Under Executive Order 14373, these funds are protected from legal attachment by creditors. Ensuring the revenue is reserved. 4th. Interim government stabilization efforts. Reporting. Companies must provide detailed reports to the Departments of State and Energy, documenting every party, quantity, and ultimate destination for the oil. Prohibitions. The licenses strictly forbid debt for oil swaps, payments in gold, or transactions involving digital currencies like petro. 4. Eligibility and limitations. Established U.S. entity. To qualify under GL46, a company must have been organized under U.S. law on or before January 29, 2025. This prevents shell companies from being created overnight to exploit the opening. Strategic rivals. The licenses do not authorize any transactions involving entities from China, Russia, Iran, or Cuba. Conclusions. The large-scale military operation carried out by the USSOF in Venezuela seems to have been carefully planned enough in advance, with the main purpose of stealing by force the enormous Venezuelan resources, an easy way to hide the present U.S. accelerated economic downturn and the consequent internal social discomfort being caused by the WH's tenant desperate and unconscious actions taken After more than 800 in number failed sanctions and executive orders were imposed on individuals, sectors, entities, finances, and countries' economy, etc. By the use of brute force, threats and coercion, the U.S. administration tried to rule on profiting from stolen resources that only pertain to people of the sanctioned country and also pretends deviating the resulting income of every transaction to offshore accounts out of the reach of its beneficial owners, thus leaving room to individual corruption whilst handling those accounts at their own discretion. The term strategic rivals confirms the raw character employed in the creation, enforcement and application of all of these licenses, threats and coercion, now faced by an adamant nation and its courageous citizens.